Yo, what's up? This your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get all access to motivated and inspiring videos on this Fammission Friday. Every Friday, let's get to the podcast. Yo, what's up? This your boy Monty G from the Fammission Podcast. And today, you already know, we got another special guest. But make sure you hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Come on, man. Show some love, man. Show some love. So I'm going to bring in a guest, and she going to tell you the rest. Let's go.
Hey, everybody.
Man, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I can't complain. So go ahead and tell the people your name, where you from, and what you do.
My name's Alisha Dixon. I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
And what I do is, right now, I'm a student of myself.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so what you want to talk about today?
Today, I want to talk about trauma.
Yeah. Let's go. All right, so we're gonna talk about trauma. Like, what kind of trauma you talking about, though? Because we got trauma in so many ways. What's up, D Brown?
There's so much, but I want to start off at the base of it, the actual definition of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there's many different types of trauma, but trauma is a deeply distressing, disturbing experience. And I think the word gets used a lot. Emphasis on the deeply distressing, disturbing, because I feel like people be like, oh, you traumatized me today, just off of some minor inconvenience.
That's right. You definitely right. I hear that word get tossed around a lot, and just doing research, I come to find out that trauma is not what's been done to you, it's how you react to things.
That is correct.
But carry on.
That's the second part of it. So my meaning that I like to use for trauma is anytime you're invalidated, your humanity is invalidated. Meaning as such, like you said, there's sexual trauma, and the reaction to that. So when you have trauma, if somebody is inflicting something on you, however, like you said, it's your reaction that gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into your fight or flight response in so many different ways.
Yeah, true.
So what I wanted to say too about it is that every human has experienced it. I feel like people, because you're going through it, it does feel like it was only you, and we can kind of get into trauma wars like, well, this happened to me and that happened to me. And, it becomes a kind of woe is me when it comes down to mental health. So what I want to say about that is every human has experienced some form of trauma.
Everyone have trauma.
Right.
Even if you don't understand it, we all go through it. From my kids, from my parents saying, I won't hit you and smack this, you know what I'm saying? And so now we got trust issues because the person that we love messed up our trust from the beginning.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? We all go through it.
That's true. Yeah. And what happens is what you were saying earlier, how you deal with it. So once you experience trauma, what happens is your body starts to react.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns on some notifications, if you may, to your body that, you go to your survival instinct.
Yeah.
And so that can look like so many different things for people. Sometimes people freeze up. Sometimes people fight. Sometimes people run, There's so many ways that you can respond to it or your body starts to.
That's right.
I think one point that's important is when you become a student of yourself, like I'm saying, about me, you can start to pay attention to your body and the signs that are taking place, you know. Like my shirt says, I don't know if y'all can read it or not, but it basically says infinite ways out. Right? And so what that means for me is that everybody's been traumatized, like we said,
Yeah,
right?
everybody is.
Right. And there's ways that we get ourselves out of it by our responses, right? And there's infinite ways. There's people who use alcohol, there's people who use drugs, there's people who overeat, there's people who, you know, like me, smoke 1,000 cigarettes, you know what I mean? And the issue becomes, is it detrimental though? Some of our responses are detrimental, you know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, they've been talking about a lot on media, social media and everything about childhood trauma. And before I get into it though, I just want to say, as far as mental health is concerned, my experience with mental illness, I want to talk about that a little bit. So my grandmother had 3 sisters who were mentally ill. And back in the 40s and 50s, they were put in mental asylums at that time as Black people. Okay.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Before you finish the story, all my people, all my viewers out there, please drop and share and drop a like and let me know where y'all from, where y'all watching from. She's dropped where y'all watching from. Okay, now you say your grandma sisters was in the 40s,
40s
and
and
what
50s.
happened?
And they were all committed to an insane asylum.
And what is that?
So this is what, I mean, the street version would be the crazy house.
Okay.
But it's a mental facility, you know, facility for mentally ill people.
Okay.
And so from that, I experienced as a child, now we go into my mother, right? And her sisters. I grew up with a whole group of mentally ill people, okay, as a child. As a child, I didn't know at the time, obviously, that they were mentally ill, but I experienced such drastic things happening just at a barbecue, you know, somebody getting busted in the head with a brick. I witnessed so much, but one of my aunts, which was like a second mother to me, her name is Valencia. And you could kind of tell that there was something going on with her as a kid. She talked very fast. She moved very fast. You know, but she used to have these episodes where she would start yelling and screaming and kind of flashing back, right, to her childhood. And I'd be standing there while she would do it, like, what the hell? You know, going off like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Literally flashing back to the moment that her trauma was happening. And so over the course of my childhood, I basically watched the deterrent of the ways that they tried to get out of their mental illness fail, you know. And my aunt to this day, very close, like I'm saying, she was like my mom. She doesn't even recognize me anymore. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia in the 90s.
So I got a question for you. How did you even like? Oh, now how old was you when you realized that it was a problem, or you know, some people had mental illness, and you was like, whoa.
I would say 8, 9. Very young, because you know, when I'm saying somebody's getting let me tell a little bit of the story. I'm gonna try to make it brief. So when I'm saying somebody's getting busted in the head with a brick, it's not that this is somebody's getting robbed or something like that, right? We're at a family barbecue. One of my uncles is walking around reading the Bible, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's drinking. And so he's reading the Bible about God, this, that, and the other. My other uncle goes, if you don't put that damn Bible up, I'm going to hit your ass in the head with something, right? So me as a little kid, I'm on the side playing, got my ice cream and everything like that.
Because it's normal to you.
Right. Next thing I know, he hit him in the head with a brick. He picked the brick up and hit him, and it's not funny. But he picked the brick up and hit him in the head with it. Okay, bashed him in the head. He's bleeding profusely. Now, trauma, boom. In that moment, that memory is sealed in my brain and my body as a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing my own relatives, be violent towards each other like that, and actually hearing the sound of somebody getting hit in the head with a brick. To this day, I can still hear that sound.
So, for like people that's watching, let me see. Can we talk to the streets, man? Let me see. Anybody leave a comment? Anybody got some questions?
Yep. We have one question. How do you break the chain of generational trauma?
How do you break the chain from generational trauma? That's a question. That's a question for you.
I got you. I'm not an expert. I'm gonna tell you what I did. Going back to when I was a child, every time one of these moments happened, I made a promise to myself, one, as a kid, that I don't want to live like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I got, you get older, the further you try to run away from things, the closer they become, because you have to turn around and deal with them. So what I had to do, like I said, is become a student of myself. Look at my own behaviors. Self-reflect on me. And what are the things that I experienced that I'm now passing down to my kids? So for me, healing is about self-reflection. Trauma is about, if you stay in trauma and in generational trauma, you're constantly asking yourself, why this happened? Why did this happen? Why did my uncle hit him in the head with a brick? When you move forward, the question is not why. The question is how. How did that affect me as a kid? You know what it did? It made me violent. It made me violent. Right?
Yeah. A lot of stuff that we learn from look, listen, and learning.
That's
And
right.
some of this stuff that we have some people in our family that's not all the way there, and we don't know. We young, we learn from them, and we pick up their behavior. And like you say, that make me violent. Living in. Matter of fact, I now I look at it as a trauma bond. Me and my friends, we lived in a projects. Somebody did something to him. Somebody did something to me. It was the same person. We ganged up, and now we bonded, and now we coming at him. So that's a trauma bond. Sometimes we don't need to be friends just because we just for real friends. Like, man, I like you because of you. We like you because you got the same. We got the same enemy. You know what I'm saying? Type of stuff.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we can pick that up from parents. So, what is something that most people can't even see? They don't even understand that it's trauma. So, what is something that
I think the hardest one is neglect. And I'm talking about emotional neglect. Where you're not seen, right? You can be fed and you have a roof over your head. We all know the famous saying, you know, in black households,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But going back to my aunt, if she would have
Take
been
your time.
seen, if she would have been seen and her mental illness acknowledged, because what they used to say is, ain't nothing wrong with her. That girl just act like that. That's how she
Yeah.
acts, right? So if they would have taken the time to actually see her and say, okay, this behavior is off. She's kind of off, you know, and acknowledge it. She could have got help when she was 10, 9, 8, 7 years old. But the neglect that she experienced from her own parents, she became fully blown schizophrenic.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that's crazy because a lot of people is they got a sickness, a illness, but they don't know. They don't know because it's they normal. You know,
That's
I didn't know that the way I was raised, I didn't know until I moved out of town and I started seeing the other people moving, and I realized that I wasn't living, I was surviving, and that was trauma to me.
good point.
You see what I'm saying? Like I didn't realize that. I thought everybody was a certain way, but
Hmm.
it's not true. It's not true. All people is not the all people is different. Everybody is different, you know,
That
and some
that
people is different in their own way. So, but yeah, what did you say? Trauma and mental illness.
mhm.
Now, how do you know if you have a mental illness? If the doctor didn't tell you, what is something that you'd be like, you know, some people don't even go to therapy.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying? Because we always say, I'm not going to be going to talk to no white doctor. He don't know nothing about me. But at the same time, we don't even know nothing about us.
Ding, 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 ding.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know about us.
And we're back to become a student of yourself. That is my whole point. Therapy is just a time and place set aside for you to study yourself. It's not a place to go where somebody's going to fix you. It's a place to go for you to take that hour of time, kind of a form of
Mm.
meditation, and self reflect on your behaviors. Now, going back to your initial question, how do you know you have a mental illness? A mental illness is basically when you're making decisions that are detrimental to your well being.
Mm.
You're mentally ill because our innate guide in our body is to, like you said, survive, right? So if you're doing things that are shortening your lifespan or
Mm.
shortening your quality of life, right? You are mentally, you might not be ill, but you're definitely mentally unhealthy. So what I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but in my head, I keep saying, like, you know, I ask this question, right? I say, you ever heard of eat an apple a day, keep the doctor away, right?
Right.
Now, if that was true, the question is, how many apples have you ate since this new beginning of the year?
I ain't ate one apple. I don't like them.
So okay, so it's safe to say that you'll be going to see a doctor soon. See, my whole thing is what I'm saying is sometimes we eat for the flavor, just like I was asking about your juice. I say sometimes we eat for the flavor, we drink for the flavor and not for the benefits. And we
Mhm.
was never taught that. So just like eating vegetables or drinking water or spring water or something, like we don't know. And I always say, man, you don't know what you know until you know it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not your fault. It's
Right.
just some things we do know, and we killing ourselves. We're gonna die, but we killing ourselves every day when we eating. We know this food ain't right. We
That's
know if
right.
we drinking or smoking or whatever we doing, we know it ain't right. I don't care if you speeding or overeating. You know it ain't right. So that's the same thing as killing yourself. So is that mental illness?
No, their mental illness is clinically being diagnosed, right? But being mentally unhealthy, mental illness is like the result of continuing mental unhealthiness, right? If you keep making the same decision, like they say, that's a form of insanity.
Yeah,
I
making the
agree.
same mistakes. Yep.
Right, right. So where I can only speak for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of the ways I took out of my trauma is overachieving, right? I became a huge overachiever to the point that every job I went to, I got a promotion. It was great. I was making all this money and all this and that, right? However, 8 years into my very important job, I started having panic attacks,
Mm.
right? So I'm having these panic attacks, not knowing what the hell, because like you said, we don't be knowing. I didn't know
Yeah.
what no panic attack was. I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack. Okay.
Right.
So I kept rushing back to the doctor and they'd be like, ain't nothing wrong with you. Right. So eventually I decided, okay, I went to one doctor and he said, you might be having panic attacks. So I went to go see a therapist. Well, of
Mm-hmm.
course I'm having panic attacks because I didn't put myself under all this pressure. For over 30 years, I've been an achiever of goals and things and more. Oh, you know, you need me to do this? I got you. You need me to do this? I got you. You need me to do that? I'm over here. I'm over there. I'm doing this. I gotta be a perfect mom. I gotta be a
Mr.
perfect
Nice
wife.
Guy.
Right.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
have to
Nice
be a
Guy.
perfect everything. And the pressure of that crumbled me into having panic attacks. Now, when I started having panic attacks, that's my body saying, we are ill. Something
Yeah.
is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. It doesn't have to be as drastic as you're, walking around in the street trying to stab people, or you're sitting in your room looking in the corner and talking to yourself. Those are extreme cases.
Yeah.
However, the fact that I was making choices that were detrimental to my health made me mentally unhealthy.
Mm. So I want to backtrack on something, right? When you saying, man, I was feeling funny and I thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack, don't you know that most heart attacks and strokes happen on a Monday?
I did not
Because
know that.
Saturday and Sunday, you be worrying about what you got to do for work and Monday, and you
That's
worry
crazy.
yourself to death,
That's
you
crazy.
know. And then on top of that, we don't talk about the trauma that we get from our kids because we trying to be these perfect parents, and our kids mad at us, and they get mad, and they can't get what they want, and we feel bad as a parent, like, damn, now my kid don't like me, and that's
Right.
traumatizing to us. And sometimes, and if they know that, they'll run over us.
And that's true.
They're
It like
usually for their advantage.
the weight of perfection was so heavy on me that it induced panic attacks. I had to keep this up. This is a response from when I was a child. I don't want to get beat. So I'm gonna make sure everything is perfect. And like you said, if I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it. What can I not do to get messed up?
And
Because I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
ask you
what
this,
mood my mom is in.
right? And I'm gonna ask you this one question, right? Like you say, perfect. Name one thing that's perfect in this world.
Not a damn thing.
So how is you trying to you of course you run yourself crazy trying to be perfect.
Yes,
And
but
I meant to say I like your shirt because that's the infinity. That's the strongest link, the
that's right.
infinity link. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like that. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? But yeah, that's what it is. Like if we trying to be something that's not it anyway,
It's not real. So
it's not real.
what I learned, that was one of the first things I let go and jumped off the bandwagon. I don't have to be perfect, right? I thought I did as a kid because the consequences for not being as close to perfect was abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just adopted that as a an adult, but becoming a student of myself, and that's what I want to get to, is how you responded. So I responded to perfection when I was abused as a kid. That's how I responded. Now the question becomes, is this working for you now? Are your childhood contracts that you made with yourself, because these are all things you were a kid and you were like, man, I ain't never finna let that happen to me. I ain't never finna do that. I ain't never, right? And you created all these mental contracts and you by them, which infinite ways out. I'm not judging no way nobody get out. That's the most important thing for me. I don't care if you a drug addict. When I was a kid, I used to sit down and talk to drug addicts all the time. You know what I'm saying? So whichever way we can get out of our trauma, okay, it works. But it comes to a point in that it doesn't work anymore. And that's the mental unhealthiness. Continuing to do it when it's causing detrimental things in your life.
Yeah, that's right. And so how do you feel about depression? So yeah, how do you feel about depression?
Well, just to be upfront about my situation, I was diagnosed with CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I've experienced depression my whole life. So it can actually sometimes feel like a safe place for me.
Okay, and depression is good, right? Depression is, and you quote me if I'm wrong, depression is, that's your body telling you, I'm tired of this person that I created, and it's time for me to change. Depression is, sometimes you get so mad and depressed that you need this because it'll change your actions, it'll change the way you think, it'll change the way you move, everything. But sometimes it changes for the better though. Because just like this, if you don't get mad at that job, you would have never quit that job.
That's right. That's correct.
If you never got mad at your weight, you'd have never gotten in the gym to work out or take them walks. So sometimes we need to get mad at ourselves for ourselves to be a better self.
I agree with that. And to the most minute version of it, human beings only react to pain. We prefer comfort, right? However, it's the pain that moves us to the next place because, like I said, our instincts to survive is gonna catapult us to do what we need to do. Sometimes, it's do you have access to the information? Do you have somebody doing it differently than what you're doing, in the environment? So I agree. My depression was necessary. And now I don't want to say that for everybody because some people are manic depressives and, can have, I don't think I can say that on here, but, it can lead to a person becoming deceased from their depression, right? So I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is when I went through my depression, I did get rest. My body got rest. And I did have time to think, right? A lot of times I was thinking about the wrong things, negative things. You understand? And now that I know what I know about mental health, I have looked at depression, like you said, now as a place to rest. If my body is telling me and getting depressed, then it's time to lay down and start rearranging things.
And that's what I was saying. Like, we look at it as a negative thing because we was taught as a negative thing. But once you learn that depression, you need these things, and some positive is going to come behind it. Once you understand that, then you can keep going. But if you don't understand it, you will take it as a negative thing, and people they kill themselves because they didn't get the education. They don't understand it.
Correct.
So once, like you said, once you understand it,
it's perception. my perception changed. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
I said I don't got to be perfect. That
That's right.
shit, that shit unlocked so much freedom for me. Like what? I don't got to be
Yeah,
perfect. It's long
man.
as I can just show up as me.
That's how I wrote my book. That's how I did a lot of stuff because I was like, man, I didn't graduate. I didn't do this. I didn't do it. And then I started learning about the people, successful people that was 45 years old before they got successful. They couldn't
Right.
read or write. They couldn't do this and they couldn't do that. And I'm like, but these people, that's what y'all calling these people successful. I
Mhm.
said, hell, well, anybody can do it because y'all plant this seed in our head. If we graduate, we have a better life. And
Mhm.
that's not true.
I mean,
And
without
people that didn't graduate, they will say, I wish I would have graduated and because I'd have had a better life.
I mean, back in our day, yeah, but I'm so deep into the mental health that if I don't wake up with the correct thoughts, I'm gonna take a break.
But
Okay? I'm
that's a
not gonna
whole
be worried about school, work, kids, house. I gotta get me right first. That's how deep mental health is.
and I'm gonna tell you, right? We all go through it. We all wake up with something crazy on our mind. Some people just say, bro, stop thinking like that. Or this is the trick to it, you gotta stay busy. If you got to get up at 7 in the morning, you got to get up at 6 in the morning, be at work at 7. You don't have time to think about no negative shit because you got to try to hear them get through this traffic. You see, that's why they say idle's mind is the devil's playground. When you sitting by yourself, I sit by myself and I think about some crazy. So I had to hit the gym. I had to go work out because if I'm just sitting there, of course, my mind, I ain't gonna be thinking about nothing positive.
I mean, the thing about it is you want to get to a point where you can sit there and your intrusive thoughts aren't running you. Because here's the thing, busyness is also a way out.
That's
I
what I
told you
say.
I was an overachiever. At one point, I had a full-time job. I was a full-time college student, and I took in new members at the church and went to church Sunday, Wednesday. Guess what? After all that was done and I was so busy and I was even taking care of my brother who's transitioned on, I was still depressed. I was still having anxiety issues. Busyness
Mm,
is not good in the long term. The long term effects of that is you avoiding what your emotional and mental state is. It can
mm,
be. Now,
mm.
I'm people, who are just, all day long you sitting in the house and ain't doing nothing and ain't got nothing to look forward to and all of that. Yes, if you
Yeah,
occupy your mind, then you tell your mind what to think. You know what I mean?
that's right.
But busyness can also be lead to extreme anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, you can get anxiety. That's why I say everybody got it because you can
Yeah.
get it from overworking or you can get it from not working, but you're going to get it.
Yes, and it's how. The question is how you deal with it.
Yeah, how you deal with it and how your body respond to it.
That's right.
Yeah, how your body respond to it. You want to now who we got out here, man? Go ahead and who we got on the streets right now before we
That internet Scott says suppressing those thoughts can lead to mental destruction.
yeah, it can and mental
That's
destruction.
right.
Yeah, it can.
Right.
Because that's why I say you trying to just holding these thoughts in and you don't got nobody to talk to. And sometimes like it's kind of like being a new parent and you don't got nobody to talk to around your age that's a parent.
Mhm.
You don't want to talk to your parents because they're gonna tell you you better do it, but they don't understand. Like I'm a kid with a kid. I need to talk to somebody like that, like this on my same level. Or I feel
Correct.
like I don't got nobody, and that is devastating.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, you
let
can't.
me just say about the suppressing thoughts and stuff like that. It's that's where it starts in the childhood when you're experiencing these traumas. nobody's talking to you. Nobody's saying, well, how did you feel? Did you see that happened? They don't even acknowledge that your uncle
Yeah.
just in a brick. So you're suppressing not only the thought, but your body's reaction to what is happening. And after
Mm.
you do that for 30 years, like I did, yeah, you develop severe anxiety. I literally had a nervous breakdown. My mind couldn't take no more busyness. It couldn't take any more suppressing. I used to compartmentalize and be like, oh, well, I ain't got time to deal with this. I'll put it to the side. All that shit came tumbling out of the closet. Okay.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been to therapy?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
How important do you think it is for Black folks to go to therapy?
I think it's extremely important for Black people, especially because we just deal with PTSD just walking outside and being Black, right? It's already creates mental issues. Is this person looking at me crazy when I go in the store? All this and that. So I definitely think Black people should be running to the therapist. Run.
Yeah. I mean, just to talk to somebody that's like, sometimes it's just good to talk to somebody that's not like our close relatives, or because like you say, they'll be like, man, you just crazy, bro. You tweaking.
That's right.
Get this weed, take this shot. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
So
They know you. And the other part about that is there's so much more freedom when you're talking to a stranger, right? You're talking to a stranger, you can tell them anything. They have no buy-in to your choices
yeah,
or
they got
decisions or behaviors, right? And they're not gonna be like, oh, that's Monty. He always like that. He always, they're not gonna do that.
that boy crazy. You should add him on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. It's not taken as seriously. So it's something about talking to a stranger. It's almost like talking in the mirror in a certain way, but you're having a dialogue with someone who doesn't have any buy-in to your life. So they're not trying to make your life worse, and they're not really trying to make it better. It's up to you to do the work for that. They're there, to make maybe some suggestions on what you could read or something like that. But for the most part, it's having a space to go where you can have your deepest thoughts be revealed.
Yeah.
Now don't go in there
Yeah.
talking about murder.
Yeah.
'Cause
No.
they ain't got
But
no client confidentiality for that.
yeah. But it's but yeah, like you said, like we all go through that, and then as Black people, we do be like, man, it's people looking at us, and we always think
Right.
that, we don't say it, but we always thinking that.
Yes.
And I was talking to a couple of brothers, and I was just saying that, yeah, murder is crazy. Yeah, it is. But
I'm just
I
saying,
was, yeah,
some people don't know that. You know what I mean?
yeah. Some people, some people don't know
Don't know
that.
what they can talk about.
Look, I said this before, right? I'm gonna say it again. If somebody murders somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know how they sleep,
That's
right?
right.
Now check this out. If a man accidentally murders somebody, how you think he gonna sleep? He have a hard time sleeping if he cheat on his girl and he thinking she gonna find out. He running around the house like this. So you don't know if the people, the police finna kick the door in, somebody told on you. So they keep on edge. They constantly on edge. Your conscience will get the best of you.
You're
So
definitely it creates hypervigilance.
yeah.
And yeah, you're doing something against your conscience. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and you know it's wrong, but you don't know,
Right.
nobody else don't know. But you
Right.
shaking in your boots though.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
therapy is definitely important. I the first time I went to therapy, it was because my depression had gotten so bad that I went, I didn't witness anybody in my family go to therapy. I just had to seek out help because I was scared.
Yeah.
So I went to therapy, and I didn't stay long. I did
Yeah.
not stay long. I was there maybe like a month, maybe 4 visits or something like that. And I left, but it was a little nugget of information she gave me and a book. And I took that and then I start back in survival mode. I'm trying to survive. So I'm not thinking about living. I'm thinking about surviving,
That's right.
And so I've been to therapy about 3 or 4 times. And I got to a point this last time to realize that, okay, I've been to therapy. I'm having the talks. My therapy damn near my girlfriend at this point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But there's
Yeah.
still things that aren't behaviors that aren't changing because I was in talk therapy. And so then I moved myself to cognitive behavioral therapy, right? Which deals with your actions and your behaviors. So people need to realize that too. What is it that you're trying to accomplish in therapy? Do you just need to get out all the things that happen to you and talk about it? Or are you
Mm-hmm.
ready to start changing behavior? There's different therapy for that. And
Yeah.
let me also say, I've been on medication. I know Black people are like, oh,
Yeah.
medicate. You let the white folks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, because
listen,
man,
I had
if
to create a baseline for myself.
mm-hmm.
So that's why I had to get on medication. My cortisone levels were so high, didn't know that at the time. The trauma was so severe, I couldn't function. I lost my
Yeah.
ability to function. So
And when people get to that state of mind, man, they just try anything. You know what I'm saying? And hope it work. Like, man, you know what?
anything, you're desperate.
Yeah, you desperate right there. So, all right, so we already passed 30 minutes, man. We gotta get to the, we're gonna come back to, we're gonna still talk about these issues because I got some stuff I want to talk about as a man, because what we don't talk about, and we're gonna have
Okay,
another podcast for that one.
I'm
But
with it.
for the people that's watching, man, make sure y'all share this video, share this video, share this video, share this video. And like and subscribe so you don't miss another one. But right now we go to the Flashback Fridays. So this is an episode of Flashback Fridays. Then we're gonna hop in the other episode of Random Questions. Let's get to the Flashback Fridays.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tell me about this picture.
Oh my God, I hate you. Dead.
Oh man.
Okay, I went to a Catholic school, and that is a picture of me in like fifth or sixth grade, at Ascension, which is over North Minneapolis, and I would call her Lily. That's Lily.
That's Lily. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I got a couple of pictures. I want you to tell me about them, or what was your state of mind around this time, or just tell me what you know about
That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right. Tell me about this picture right here.
Oh, that's another good one. So this is a picture of my daddy, and he fine. And my mama sitting on his lap with me, pregnant with me. And then that's my aunt Blotty on the side. And I love that picture. That's the only picture that I have of my dad, and he was fly as shit.
Yeah, okay. Tell me about this picture.
Lord. Oh God. Okay, we going back down. I stumbled on this photograph. It kind of made me laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is definitely after church. We used to go to the Old Country Buffet.
No, not the buffet.
Old Country Buffet. Them biscuits was
Man.
I love them biscuits. So that is, my sister is in my stepdad's lap, and I'm over there with the cheese, not cheesing because my teeth got knocked out.
No, man.
And that's my mama.
Oh snap. Okay.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Okay.
Those are good ones.
I got another one. Last one.
I ain't always had his blonde hair, y'all. I didn't
Snap.
have
All right, and then this one, I know
that.
that one.
Okay. This picture is very special, actually. That's a good picture. That's my sister,
Mm,
Delilah, and that is my soulmate. My sister is
mm,
my soulmate. Me and her, like this, and just beyond that, like we're like the same person in different bodies.
mm,
And what I love about her is she's I feel like everything that I kind of wanted to accomplish but got held back in my own trauma and mental health state and stuff,
mhm.
she's been able to accomplish. So, but she's definitely my rock. So that's me and my
Okay,
sister. I had just had my daughter, Elijah. That's
okay, okay, okay. So let me how much time we got. All right. So I'm going to another episode of um random questions.
oh
Yeah, I got some random
God.
questions for you.
You
So
know
you
I'm a
ready?
Virgo. I be liking to have control over everything. Go ahead.
I got you. All right, let's get to it. Let's go. First question. Do you sleep with the TV on or the TV off?
TV on,
Oh, okay.
but I'm never watching it. I'm just having it in the background.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What's
I see.
on?
What be on?
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah,
What's up?
I
That's a
love
good
Martin.
show right there. Okay. Um, are you a morning person?
Definitely a morning person.
Okay. What time do you wake up in the morning?
About 6 o'clock. But when I do wake up, it's like I'm jumping out the bed. Let's go. I'm a hyped morning person.
Yeah, that's it. So when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Or what's the first thing you do or think about?
The first thing I do is get coffee.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Starbucks or
No. I make my coffee. I make my
okay.
coffee in the morning. First thing on my mind in the morning is it really depends on my anxiety levels, to be honest with you. But if it's not, it's pretty decent, then I'm waking up saying thank you, Lord, for waking me up. And I like to see
Mm,
the sun. I like to see the sunrise, so I'm
yeah,
always like jumping up to see that.
yeah, I like that too. What bill do you hate paying?
All of them, every last one of them. Okay,
All
all of
right,
them.
all right. Hey, what did you think that was important, and as you got older, it wasn't?
Uh, what did I think that was important as I got older? It wasn't. I would say money.
Money. Okay. Hey, what's a big mistake you made and you learned a valuable lesson from it?
A big mistake that I made. Um, I'm trying to think of something that's more recent. A big mistake that I made and I learned a lesson from it. I would say over overachieving. I feel like is one of the biggest mistakes that I made, where it's like give me all the work at jobs. I used to be the type of person like give me everything, I'll do everything. And then when it became overwhelming, I realized that yeah, no, I don't want to do all this shit. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it being an
Okay.
overachiever.
Okay. If you was the president, what's the first thing you would do?
As the president, the first thing that I would do is legalize marijuana across the whole country. That's the
Oh
first thing.
man. Okay.
Everybody, get it over with. We ain't got time.
Yeah, everybody be falling asleep at work.
Not true. Marijuana for me, because I'm so hyper, right? And I probably should be on like ADHD medication or something. Because the way that I smoke it is literally like how you take a pill. 1 or 2 puffs and I'm good for hours. I need it to calm down. And let me say, as a testimonial, my brother had MS and he came to California and smoked medicinal weed, and he gained the ability of his arms and his neck again. So
Okay.
it really is medicinal.
Yeah. If you can talk to your 16-year-old self at the age you're at right now, what would you tell him? What's up, Big Mike?
If I could talk to myself at 16, I would say look within. You have everything that you need.
Yeah. Hey, that's my boy Big Mike. He just came on to the podcast. And hey, Big Mike, man, do you want to be a guest real quick? I want to, you know what I'm saying? We talking about trauma and we talking about mental health. And I said I wanted to talk about something. I never brung it up. But I would love to have you jump on a podcast real quick. You know what I'm saying? If you say, yeah, we'll send you, you can come on in. So we're going to come back to these questions. Yeah. Because, all right. Let me see. What's the worst toppings to have on pizza?
Anchovies.
Okay.
And pineapple is a second for me.
Yeah, you said Big Mike. All right. Who taught you how to drive?
My brother-in-law taught me how to drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't learn how to drive until I was 18, and I needed to learn because I was pregnant with Joseph.
Okay. So, what was I finna ask you? I missed my place. All right, my phone moved. My bad. What's the worst piece? I got a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying?
I know you
Did you
said
send
that.
the link? Yeah. So, what's the best advice you can give to a teenager girl? A teenage girl. That matter of fact, how old was you when you got pregnant with your first kid?
I was 18.
All right. So, what kind of advice would you give to a teenage girl that is pregnant?
I would say that you can still accomplish what you want to accomplish. Whatever your goals were before, you can still accomplish those goals. And to get a support system.
Okay. Why did you get married?
I got married because really, to be honest, it was a learned behavior. I witnessed marriage. My grandmother and my grandfather were married for 60 something years. My mom was married for 30 years. And so it was kind of like a natural progress in my life. That should be the next thing.
Yeah.
Not that I did not care about the person I married or anything, but it was more.
It's like a learning behavior. It's like if we seen our siblings go to college, we'd be trying to go to college. If we see them drop out of school, we'd be like, I'm gonna drop out of school. So it's kind of like that, and not just saying I don't care about school,
right?
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a learned behavior.
Yeah, it was definitely a natural progress for me. It was the next step.
Yeah. Who was your favorite teacher in school?
My favorite teacher was Mrs. Carlson. She used to let us cuss when we used to write our stories in creative writing.
Okay. Hey, and I know, I just thought about something, man, because we talking about marriage and stuff, and I thought about it, and you was like, yeah, like I cared about the person and what I was thinking. I'm like, hey, can you tell me about the time that oh well, first of all, let me ask you, do you even want to talk about your past relationship?
Sure. I'm
All
open
right.
book.
All right. So is you open book? Okay, that's good. Think about books. Okay. Tell me
Let's
about the time Earl got pulled over and he was sitting on books.
dead. No. Are you talking about when he was driving in the black Caprice? I think it was the black Caprice. No, there was a funny story for the simple fact that we was both little as hell in this big ass black Caprice. I think it's like a 90 or some old police car. And we over driving from over north to over downtown where I used to live. And yeah, the police got behind us, flashed the lights and shit, and they weren't even tripping. They was walking up to the car like we thought you was two kids riding around this big ass car. It was huge. That car was huge. We was little as hell.
Oh man, that shit getting. All right, one more. Tell me about the time on Earl's birthday you found him in the bathroom on his birthday.
I locked him in the bathroom.
No, you found him in the bathroom on his birthday.
Oh, okay. Long story short, I'll make it short. But we was drinking that, the payao, you know what I mean? 99 banana, everything in it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you the funny part is we're talking and shit, and he's standing next to the patio door, right? Like, yeah, I'm about to go to the bathroom. So he turned around, ran into the screen door so fucking hard. The shit made him bounce back like 3 steps. And instead of him being like, he couldn't say nothing, but he said, who the fuck closed this door? No, this shit was funny. That was a wild night.
Man.
That was a wild night.
Yeah, let me see. Big Miss ain't came on yet.
He didn't know. He hasn't.
All right.
Message.
All right. Yeah. Hey, one time I heard you say something about, knowledge is power, right? And I used to always hear people say knowledge is power. And I used to believe that. And then I heard somebody say, if knowledge was power, all the librarians should be millionaires.
It depends on what you equate power to. What I created to is, remember, everything about me is self, right? So the more information I learn about myself, the more knowledge I get about my behaviors and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking, the more free I become to start living instead of surviving. So to me, knowledge is power because it unlocks and reveals things that are you once before were in the dark to you. Money is not power.
Money is a tool, and knowledge is the lights to your footsteps.
That's
so,
right.
So it's like if you're in the dark, you take small steps. When you get in the light, you make big steps and big bold steps. And when you're reading certain things, you're looking at certain things from a different point of view from other people. So yeah, knowledge is bringing that light.
Literally unlocks things in your brain, right? Yeah. Like when you get new information, you can literally feel the difference of being aware of that information. So it definitely is. And like you said, it's a light. And I think in society, we do believe that money has way more value. I just did a video about how I measure my success. And it was a billboard of, did I eat today? Did I sleep today? Am I feeling good? Did I laugh today? These are the things that I feel make me wealthy.
Yes, it is truly. It's a thing like, the most important thing is health. Because you can have $1 million in the bank, excuse me, you can have $1 million in the bank, and if you sick, you wouldn't even get out of the bed.
Right. Who's the guy that passed away from Microsoft? What's his name? Bill, is it not Bill Gates? I forgot his name.
Steve
He's a
Jobs.
very wealthy
Steve
man.
Jobs.
Not him.
Steve Jobs? No.
No, it's another gentleman. God, I can't remember his name, but sorry, but he had 7 heart transplants. He was up there with Bill Gates and all of them. I think of the name. He still died.
Mm.
With all his money, right?
No.
So health is the most important thing. And before then, mental health, because mental health will affect your actual real health.
Yeah, it affect, like, sometimes with your mental health. Like, first of all, you got mental health, and if it's so deep, you don't care. You don't care how you eat. You don't care if you exercise. You don't care about nothing. And other people's feelings.
Right.
You know, you got the attitude. Don't nobody care about me. I don't care about them. Type
You're
thing. And that's painful.
dark.
That's hurtful.
You're
So
in the
I got a
dark.
question. I got a question for you. In the last 90 days, how many books or audio books you checked out?
In the last 90 days, the last book I think that I just got is Why Do I Do This? I can't remember the author's name, but I have like a plethora of, I have a huge library on Audible, and so I've read a lot of books. I want to mention this book, The Body Keeps Score.
That's a good book.
That deals with trauma and how it actually affects your body and all of that. And that's by Bessel van der Kolk. But if you just look up The Body Keeps Score, that's a good book. Another good book is PTSD. And I don't have the author's name. But it's on Audible. That's a really good book about mental health. And one last book is called The Laziness Lie. And it's for people like me who are overachievers, perfectionists, people who think that, everything has to be done all at the same time. It's a great book. It's called The Laziness Lie.
Okay. So yeah, I want you to check out. I mentioned it earlier, but I want you to check out this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Right.
It's about people pleasing.
Right.
And we do a lot of that, and sometimes we're not aware that we do it.
Go for it. That's another way out, right? People pleasing, codependency. That's my point. There's so many ways that we take out of our childhood trauma. And the question really is it working for you now?
Yeah. So, that was the question. It was like, if today was your last day, would you be happy? Would you be satisfied with the things you did today?
Yes.
If you knew tomorrow you wouldn't wake up?
Yes.
And that's what we got to ask ourselves. And we try to make the best out of life. And we say, man, man, I ain't finna just be sitting around. I got to do something. Because and for real, in life, it's all about memories. It's all about memories. So,
That's
right. I just realized that we need to take more pictures, make more memories with people, because at the end of the day, that's all we're gonna have is memories. When we sit back in our deathbed, if we don't die instantly, we sit back in our deathbed, we're gonna have a whole bunch of regrets saying, damn, I wish I would have told this person I'm sorry, or damn, I wish I had took that trip when I could instead of spending that money on that jacket. I wish you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna have enough time to sit there in that bed by ourselves alone with our thoughts about we're gonna replay our whole life and what we shoulda, coulda, woulda did, and we didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't believe in regret. And I say that because you can do it now. I experienced severe regret when my biological father passed away, and I was angry and I wouldn't speak to him. So from that moment of him passing away and me not speaking to him and having to deal with the consequences, now he's not here anymore. I learned my lesson about regret. So I treat people like they're gonna die tomorrow. That's how I treat
That's
people.
right. Okay. What is something you had to unlearn in your journey?
Codependency. I had to learn how to, before being a student of myself, I was a student of other people. I'll say it that way. I cared about other people's lives more than my own well-being. I've been unlearning it for like 17, 18 years now.
Mm. And congratulations. I'm glad you're on that journey. Yeah.
Fuck codependency.
Yeah. Let's go. Hey.
Cut out. Sorry,
If-
I don't like cuss.
no, that was good. Good. If you knew the answer was always yes, what would you ask for?
If I knew the answer was always yes, what would I ask for? To be able to fly. I want to fly.
You want to fly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to fly. I love birds. I love the freedom. I'm all about being free. So I think that would be one of the first things on my list.
Okay. Hey, where was you at 2001, 9/11 when the towers fell down?
I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was at work. I used to work at Morton's of Chicago, and I was at work with my coworkers, and we heard about it.
That was crazy time. All right. Well, you know, it's Black History Month, so I got to ask you this one question. What is something Black folks, this one thing, created?
Humanity.
Black folks created?
Humanity. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody comes from us.
I think it should be invented.
Okay, yeah. Let's change it. Okay.
Oh,
Invented. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the
Yeah. No. That's cool. That's cool.
That a Black person invented. Stoplight.
Stoplight. That's right. Okay. That's good. Are you satisfied with the time you spent with your family?
Yes. You mean how much time I spend with my family?
No, I'm saying, are you satisfied with the time you spent with your family?
Yeah, I love my family.
Yeah. Okay. So Big Mike ain't jumping on. All right. Yeah, so we already at our power. I was waiting on my homie to jump back on. You know what I'm saying? So because I wanted to talk about something else. But is there anybody you want to shout out to? Go ahead. What was you going to say?
Oh, you said you were going to say something about male mental health.
Yes.
So you're waiting for him to done?
So what I was going to talk about with male mental health, right, is, you know, a lot of people don't talk about this. Also, I was waiting on him to jump on. Like, you know, us is fathers, right? Because back in the 70s, 80s, you know, fathers wasn't in the household, you know, because public aid and all that was going on. So now we growing up, and now in the 2000s, the late 2000s, early 2000s, fathers trying to be with their girl and be in the household, but we was never raised with a father. So how is we trying to be something that we never seen? We trying to do something we never did. Like we trying to be a husband, we trying to be a father. And sometimes these kids, they'll take advantage of that and they'll run over, and that's be mentally messing with us, because people don't understand that we got to go by the umbrella, right? The umbrella is God first, the father, the wife, and then the kids. So meaning we talk to God ourselves because we are God. We talk to God. We get this, that we talk to the wife and we tell her wife, just like this, breaking it in layman's terms. If I told, all right, if I told my wife, no, if I told my kids, hey, sweep and mop the floor, they probably might give me a hard time talking smack. But then my wife and say, sweep mop the floor, they'll say, yes, ma'am, and they'll do it. See, and that's why when, as a man, we try to jump over the wife and try to tell the kids what to do, and we get mad and we get frustrated, but we ain't even following the guideline. We ain't even putting the wife in a position to be like, here, tell the kids this.
Right.
And we know what I'm saying? And that stuff get frustrating. And a lot of us don't know what to do, man. We just blind leading the blind. Like we just trying it out. And people be like, oh, you're not a good this and what, you know what I'm saying? But we don't know. We ain't never. If I wasn't raised by a good father, how can I be a good father? All I could do is be like, man, I'm gonna be in my kid's life because I know how I felt when my dad wasn't in my life. But sometimes that don't be enough.
I mean, I think of a little different approach when it comes to parenting. I think the fact that children should actually be able to be who they are. And I feel like as a parent, you should be observant and then put them in places. Let's say, for instance, one of your kids aren't good. They're not good at mopping and sweeping the floor. You know, they have a different
they say
skill set.
Practice. They say practice make improvement. But if you ain't never let him do it, he ain't going to improve in it.
I don't have the mind frame that I'm here to mold my kids into anything. I think that God already created them and he has what he wants them to do and they're on their own journey. Yes, as far as like responsibilities, yeah. Right.
Okay.
However, going back to about the fathers, what I would say about that is asking yourself, what type of father do you want to be? Since I feel like, perception is everything, right?
Right.
Because if you have no idea of what a father is, then you have the freedom to become the father you want to be. You don't have to unlearn negative behaviors, right? Mm-hmm. So it's your perception of how you look at it. I think the most important part, though, for men and in society is all these expectations that are placed on you guys is what creates the pressure. Like you said, a man's supposed to be, and a man's supposed. Then if I never seen it, then I feel like I'm already failing.
And then on top of that, what if you an 18-year-old father?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. But
you're really a kid. You're really a kid raising a kid.
But there's no manual on parenting anyway. So that's if you're looking at society standards.
And that's what I go by. That's what I said about the mental health, meaning we mentally be drained because all these things in our face, and we like, bro, is I'm doing right? And then when the kids like, oh, you a bad dad. We like, damn, are we really bad? And we ain't got nobody to talk to and ask that, like, bro, I'm doing all I can and I feel terrible.
I mean, I feel like mothers have been dealing with that for thousands of years. Mothers' guilt is wild, okay?
and I know that because guess what? The mothers was trained. The mothers was trained to take care of kids. They take care of baby dolls and everything.
Yeah.
Have little babies and do it. Y'all been trained to do that. We was out here shooting guns and running fast cars.
It's totally different to take care of a baby doll and a real human being that has real needs like attention and mental health. And, we learned how to feed, put a bottle into a baby's mouth.
And all that.
There's women that have kids that never become a nurturer. So being a mother is totally different than having a baby, just having a baby,
Okay, and then another thing, you say, let the kids be them, and I'm not here to train my kids. What do you think a job is?
I didn't really train my kids to work for somebody.
But I'm saying though, if they get a job, what you think they're gonna tell them to do? The same
Well,
thing, you
you have
sweep
to
and mop
have
that floor.
you have to have self-discipline, right? Yes, you have to teach your kids self-discipline. What I mean is sometimes we superimpose our stuff onto our kids. We project it onto them, right? And what I'm
Mhm.
saying is look at your kid. Is that kid really organized enough and all of that to actually have that task? That's my point. Maybe the task for them is something else. Maybe they're better at taking out the garbage than they are mopping the floor. I've been traumatized about mopping floors, so maybe I got triggered. I don't know. I'm
Hey,
just saying.
okay, but I'm saying when I say mopping, sweeping floors, meaning when you first get a job, like as a
Mm,
teenager, that's what they're gonna most likely how you doing. And that's what you do in your
I
household, right? I'm
do.
saying, as a teenager, like how you start getting a job, like when you like 14 or something, or some, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
15, like they take out the trash, sweep them off the floor, doing little odd jobs like that. And they're like, bro, you can't even sweep them up. And I know because I trained the kid, and I told him to mop, and I'm like, you mop like this. He mopping like, and he mopping like he's shoveling. And I'm like, bro.
I don't know. I just feel like
So
mopping and sweeping are not as they're not life threatening
okay, okay, think,
you know
okay,
what I'm saying?
okay,
That's
okay.
what I mean
It's
about molding a kid.
okay. So it's not like you said, but every job you go to, they train you until you get the confidence to do the job by yourself. True or false?
I'm going with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They train you on your new job. They train you what to do, and they say you got it. You say yeah, and then they leave you to yourself. But
Right.
they training you though. So how is it that we shouldn't train our kids? Let them figure it out. What if they don't figure it out?
What I mean by train them is tell them how they should be or how they my point is okay, if I ask you to mop the floor, right? Um I'm not going to come back and tell you how you did it wrong, you did this, you did that, because in that case it's like I can just mop the floor myself at this point. Like if
Mhm.
I'm going to let you mop the floor frustrate me to the point that I'm upset, then I just mop the floor my damn self. So yes, you have to train your kids, right? But this is not stuff they're not going to see. They're going to see somebody
Mhm.
sweep the floor. They're going to see somebody mop the floor. It's not detrimental to their well-being is what I'm saying. The training that I think needs to be done is emotional intelligence.
Okay. Now again, this is why we have all those things that at Walmart you go and these you bag your stuff up yourself because
Mhm.
they know that these kids will feel a type of way and they'll walk off on a job. And these computers, they don't walk off on a job, they don't go on no lunch break, they don't go on no pee break, they don't do none of that. But these kids right now, like, ain't this scary? One day, do you want to be on this earth when this generation become president?
I mean, yes, honestly, because I feel like these kids, I can't agree with you with that. I have to say yes because these kids have one way more information than we ever had, right? About life in general. Two, they're kind of getting it right with I don't want to work for somebody else, or you're not going to slave labor me, or you're not going to, I can leave and find another job. We were taught to be loyal to our employers until 30 years and then retire, right? They're
And
like,
you,
either change y'all policy or I'm leaving.
yes,
So
and
I
they,
feel
that is
like
true.
they're more emotionally and
Yeah,
mature than we were, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
had
yeah.
us. They had us
But
on a material chase. They
I
had
feel
us
like
on a
that was a
material
trauma
chase.
bond for them.
You felt like that
So
was a trauma bond for them.
because I feel like the way they're that way because they watch their parents be super loyal and work for the same
Right.
company for
And didn't
20
get
years and
Exactly.
retire and get a turkey.
or get a gold
Right.
pen.
Or get fired right before you're supposed to retire.
Ooh,
So
you
we
see what I'm
don't
saying?
gotta pay you off.
And, and then you got a friend that be in the house. He just graduated. He don't even go out no more. He just be on the game, and his bank account fatter than his mom's.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And you had the YouTube craze where everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna just be, I'm gonna be a gamer, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. Every generation is supposed to move stuff a little bit more forward. And I feel like with this generation, they're getting it right with the gay rights and accepting people and not having so much dysfunctional between races and all of that stuff. Like they're getting that right. You can't get everything right, but that's my point with we were raised to be worried about what the kitchen looked like and you know what I mean, and how clean it was and how everything had order and all this and that, which is necessary. It's necessary, but it wasn't as detrimental for us. You've never walked past a dirty floor and lost your job or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
it's not as
that.
serious.
Yeah, but from black folks, I used to think like, man, my grandma used to be on it. Like you say, if you ain't do it right, I'll just do it. And that's how our grandmother was. And she used to be waxing the floors, the project floors.
Yeah.
And she was waxing them, and you can see your face in them. And I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm like, and then when I looked at it, I looked up, what was that? Ancestry. Yeah, we looked up that, and that's what she used to do when she was a kid. She used to
Right.
clean these people's floors and wax their floors.
Now, can I say something about that? Because I'm always going back to mental health. My mom was extremely clean and just like that, right? OCD. However, the whole house is spotless, but I'm being sexually abused in this spotless house. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about it? Can we talk about how this is creating cognitive dissonance for me because everything has its order? Well, where does this sexual abuse go?
Oh, so you worry about the house. You worry about the house, but you ain't worried about what's in the house.
That's right. And that is definitely, it's cognitive dissonance, and it created a lot of trauma. And Black people do that all the time. We're worried about what we look like, how spotless our house is, but we're not worried about you just beat your kid down into the ground because they didn't mop the floor correctly and how that's going to affect them. Or you in here, you done brought 17 dudes over this mop floor. And you got a daughter, and 17 different men have came past this clean floor. Who cares if the floor is clean? Why you got all these damn men in here around your child? Let's focus on what the real issues are and stop trying to look shiny and new on the outside.
And that's trauma. Like, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, man, that's crazy how people can live in the hood where it's all junky and trash everywhere, but they got the brand new Jordans on, the Louis Vuitton Gucci belt, nice purses and hair and look all, but they be in the hood though. And I be like, yo, that's
and be talking to their kids, get your dumb fucked up motherfucker, get your ass over here right now, right? Be talking to their kids like that, and then be like, I don't know why my son fell in his school. Let's talk about that. Mental health is really important.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't talk about that enough. Like, and sometimes we think it's normal because that's how we was raised, but it probably wasn't right the way we was raised. Most likely it wasn't right.
Back at some of the books, right? And this is not just Black people. There was a point in time in parenting where I think it was about the 50s or 60s where they said it's a good idea if you let your child self-soothe itself. And that's when they started the letting babies cry, right, in the crib. Now, if you go back and look at psychology, due to them doing parenting that way, the children became emotionally detached from their parents. And that's how we have all these attachment issues. You're hearing now about anxious attachment and, avoidant attachment. They've done studies to show the fact that they were leaving their kids to cry alone, they were missing some of their kids' needs. And because the kids didn't get their needs met, it created these type of attachment styles. We were like, we had to go home. Wasn't nobody at home when we got there.
Yeah, we had to raise ourselves. Yeah.
So this all is trauma when you don't have guidance. Like you were saying earlier. Yeah, you do need guidance. Your kids need guidance.
The proper guidance, because you can be guided by an uncle or a cousin the wrong way. You can be guided by an uncle or anything else the wrong way, because they can trick us and say, "This, don't tell nobody, but this is what we're supposed to do." And then
I agree with that. And there's a theory called good enough parent, good enough guardian. It's a person who's obviously not perfect, but they were good enough in your life to lead you into some of the right direction.
Yeah, like we always say, like the streets raised me, or the gangs and all this. Like, bro, just because the gangs raise you don't mean they raise you right, bro.
Well, how can a gang, you know what? I'm going to ask you a question, because I always never understood gangs.
Okay,
right?
Go ahead.
So my question to you with gangs is, what would make you want to put your life on the line for a neighborhood, or for a hood, or, a neighborhood that you really don't own? It's nothing good happening there.
Yep.
You get what I mean?
For a neighborhood, for some homies or color.
Yeah.
Like, what would make you be violent towards another person?
Yeah. What was your mental state at that time?
I didn't have a mental state. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. When the kid is born, he don't know nothing about gravity.
Right.
So think about when gangbangers catch little kids, they young. They don't know nothing about life. They don't know nothing about right or wrong. And I think about that now as an older person. I say, man, what made me think it was okay to hurt people?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What made me think it was okay to shoot people or chase people up the block and do all these things? I'm like, now I got kids. I'm like, I don't want nobody chase. I want to do that doing to my kid. So I think they caught us at a young mind when we had a squishy brain because we weren't fully developed.
Right.
And they just programmed us.
Right.
They just programmed us. That was it. That we was programmed. Okay. That's all I can say. We was programmed. We didn't know. Like they say, when you knew better, now you would not hear me telling my kids to go grab guns and be in the gang or do nothing. That I'm not in no gang. I don't go run behind no gang, But we've been programmed for so long. We still might say, "What's up, G man? What's up?" But the axe is still the same. Yeah, the axe is still the same. Like we still talk to each other like that, but the lifestyle changed. Right. I'm not finna be. I can wear what I want to wear. I can wear whatever color I want to wear. I can hang out with who I want to hang out. And y'all told me not to hang out with this gang, and come to find out that this opposite gang was one of my closest friends right now. So I'm like, oh, y'all
you grow out of it. You grow out of it.
Yeah, you have to grow out of it, and some people still stuck in it. That's why you see these people almost 50 years old wearing the jewelry, wearing all the rings, something, man, they still stuck in it. They still stuck in it.
So they're still stuck in their childhood choices.
Man, sagging their pants, wearing shoes, thinking they 50 years old.
Right.
That's a trauma bond.
That is, but it's also, like I was saying earlier, emotional intelligence. It's best to teach your kids about being emotionally intelligent, being mentally
Yes.
aware, right? Why am I
Yes.
doing this? You know, um,
Yeah.
ask yourself
That's
these
right.
questions, instead of just, yeah, you want to fit in at that age and stuff. And like you said, it was portrayed all over for us. It was on TV. It was, everything, everywhere. It was like the
Man.
thing to do.
And it felt good when you hook up with the guy. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's
Right,
like my brothers, man. It's
right,
kind of like we not on a baseball team, we not on a basketball team. It's get the same love for real. It's just
right.
without the violence, in some way. But yeah, I think
And that one of the ways that you took out of your um trauma as a child was, did you do it because like I'm about to go out and spend time with my friend? Were you running from something in your household, I guess is the question.
me personally, you ever heard of hurt people?
Yes.
I realized that I was hurt because I wasn't raised with my mom and dad. I was raised with my grandmother, and my grandmother was always going to bingo, and I felt like didn't nobody care. So I was like I said, I feel like didn't nobody care, so I don't care.
So that's what I was gonna say, because you said you weren't operating out of mental health, but it was.
Yeah,
Right.
It was out of hurt.
yeah, but that's why I say, as a kid, I didn't understand, and just because you don't understand, don't mean it don't work like
There's no
that.
consequences.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
because you don't understand don't mean it don't work. Bro, I don't understand if I run to a red light. Bro, run that red light, I might
Right.
get hit. If you don't understand, you think you're gonna make it past. Maybe one day you do, and someday you don't.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
just how the universe works. So I was
Yeah.
just saying that we was just young and we wasn't educated and we didn't know no better. And like you said, we was emotionally intelligent, we was emotionally bonded with each other because
Right.
you know what I'm saying, that was in the hood. Like, didn't nobody care, and they seem like they care. These my homies. And the crazy part is we used to say stuff like, bro, I kill for you.
Right.
Right? Now I say, no, bro, don't kill for me, live for me.
And that exactly.
Live for me. Because
Exactly.
anybody can die, but I don't want you dying. I want you to live, bro. I want it because it's gonna get better later. So
And
yeah,
that's that change of perception, right?
yeah,
You
that's
change,
that. What's it called? The paradigm effect.
right. You change your perception. And
Yeah.
so it shows, just like we were talking about, in mental health, that all of those choices that you made, were perpetrating a certain lifestyle and was creating, it kind of, didn't it still make you alone though? Because people started dying and going to jail and
Yeah,
right.
like right now, you know, probably like man, about 75% of the people that I grew up with is dead or locked up.
Hmm.
And yeah, it get lonely, as you get older. But that's what happens when you get older. When you get older, you start losing friends, they start moving away, they
Right.
start living a different lifestyle. So that's what happens when you get older. You just have to adapt to your surrounding. And sometimes, like for me personally, it get hard sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
this is all I know. It's crazy that I don't care anybody from my neighborhood. I don't care where they go or where they at. They still gonna remember
All
these
get hurt.
buildings.
Right.
They,
Right.
bro, no matter what, and that's just like if you go to the army, it's PTSD. When you go to the army and you've been out the army for 7 years and you still talking about it.
Right, because a lot happened in those buildings and, in the walls and the apartments on the outside in the neighborhood that traumatized so many people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I said, the way that PTSD works is that exactly that. You can see an image and flash back and your body goes into a state of panic, and it could be underneath the surface. You don't know why you're having anxiety for 3 days after that, right? So it's very impactful in that way. You can smell something and remember, like, man, I remember I was sitting on my mom's porch. We always do it. We look at it for like the good memories and stuff, but we're not realizing the negative. The trauma has the same effect. You go somewhere, smell something, you can go right back into that time.
And you exactly right. But it's so crazy how we grew up. Our negative things seem positive to us, or it seems like it's right. Be like, man, remember we shot what you call that shit was funny. Nigga, that's not funny.
Well, I'm gonna go back to
Or remember when we stole you say go ahead.
I'm going back to Ways Out, right?
Okay.
Because I use humor. I was the humor child. I was the entertaining child. My uncle, like I told the story about my uncle getting busted in the head. I'm, skipping and making a joke. That was my way out. So sometimes the pain is so great that you gotta laugh from crying, like they say. You know what I mean? Because it'll tear you down. So yeah, some humor is used to lighten the blow.
Yeah. And that's why, a lot of people around me and they knew around me, they laugh. And I was telling my wife, I say, man, when Kevin Hart came out, that Laugh at My Pain, when I be telling people, like when I got shot, I tell people just stuff in my life and they be laughing. And I be like, bro, I'm dead serious. And they be like red face, my stomach hurt. Boy, you is funny. And we found out that it's not they laughing at the story, they laughing about how I'm saying it. And
right.
I'm like,
how you're describing.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, okay, I get it now. They not laughing at me, they laughing at the story.
Yeah, that was a huge tool for me in my whole life, is either making my mom laugh or making people laugh or, making myself laugh. It was definitely a way to like disassociate from what was happening with me. So, not funny thing, but in reality, even to this day, the more stressed I am, the funnier I become. I literally will have you on the floor, like you said, and you'll be like, you would never expect that I'm so stressed out, but it's because I use humor so much to help me get above my issues.
Yes, laugh at my pain.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
True story.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's so much trauma. And like I said, trauma is not what happened to you, it's how you respond to things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody from the G, if y'all on this podcast, I guarantee when y'all got frustrated and mad, y'all said some shit like, nigga, I'm from the G, I don't play that.
Listen, y'all used to come to Minnesota with that bullshit all the time. And I used to have to tell chicks, okay, you gonna catch this motherfucking Minneapolis ass whooping. Don't try it, damn. Listen, black folks is black folks everywhere. We black
man,
everywhere.
but that's just that trauma we got. We from the, you know what I'm saying? And we still,
oh my God.
We still think we're attached to it. We still think we're attached to it.
Yeah. Y'all used to come to school with that BS. I'm from Chicago. I don't give a fuck. Look, this brick break down Chicago heads too.
Man, see, that's that. But see, that's that trauma. See, you trying to pick up bricks and shit.
Listen, I know one of my ways out was also violence. I can be a very violent person. I work on it, but I definitely, that's another form of trauma, is I have rage fits. I had to actually create a rage room. Someone actually created a rage room for me, my boyfriend at the time, and he created it so I could just tear up shit and knock holes in TVs, and it really worked. It was very helpful because I am a violent person. That's one of the ways that I chose out of my situation. It was violence, was overachieving, like I'm saying. So yeah, I be on. I ain't from the G, but I'm on go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But what I'm gonna say is, a person that is extremely nice and extremely funny is also extremely dangerous and extremely evil.
I would, you know what? Somebody who's extremely nice and extremely funny is extremely miserable because they're a people pleaser.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And some things can make them snap, and that you be like, bro, you funny, and I ain't never know you was like that, bro.
Yeah,
Because that's the part that's making them funny, like they got something holding in. So, and another thing is I say, he said, I agree, brother, on the real. So, another thing that, you know, my grandmother used to try to keep me in the house, and I used to just draw on walls and and she used to just let me,
right. See,
and because if I
she
didn't get that out, I was
right.
terrorizing the neighborhood.
She understood that you not having your mother and father in your life, she was obviously aware, right, of mental health and was like,
Mm-hmm.
look, instead of, some parents would knock you in your head and all this. Now, why you doing it? The anger would have been misdirected somewhere else on someone else. So
And
kudos
and
to your grandmother for realizing you
man,
need an outlet. You
man,
know,
I think if she would have told me stop writing on damn walls and went upside my head, a lot more people would have got hurt.
right? Exactly. Thanks,
You
Grandma.
see what I'm saying? Yeah, on the real.
Thanks.
So this
Look,
this
it's
this
some dudes right now that should be saying thanks to your grandmother. Don't even
man,
know
I
it.
be trying to tell people. I say, man, y'all need to thank my grandmother because she kept y'all out of danger. Man, I was hurt. I was really
Yeah.
hurt. You know, and
Yeah.
when it's crazy. We me and my family, we came down and we spent some time with your family. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everything. It was in my book. And that was a big part of my life that I couldn't believe. So first, I'm gonna show you this picture of me when I was young. This is how my room used to look.
Lord.
That was
Yeah.
me.
You was
That
doing
was
your thing writing on them walls.
that was me.
You should have been graffiti. Shit.
That was my dream. I'm like, oh, I can draw, I can do this. So,
Yeah.
what is something in your life that happened and you can't believe it happened? Like, let me see if I'm wording it right. Let me see. Yeah, what is something that happened in your life that let me see if I'm gonna make sure I'm reading it right. My bad. Uh Damn, I should have had this question on hand because I just thought about it when I was just talking, you know, um damn, I got so many questions. I hate when I do this. Man, I can't, I'm just guessing. But what is something in your life that happened and you can't believe that you survived it? Like, what's the question I'm looking for?
Something that happened in my life that I can't believe that I
Yeah,
survived.
yeah, you survived it. You be like, damn, I can't believe that happened, and I'm still here. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
I would say my nervous breakdown that I had in 2020. I broke my foot.
Mm,
I separated from my husband of 15 years.
mm,
My brother transitioned like 6 months, 8 to 8 months after that.
mm,
So I had a lot of loss, and it literally drove me into a nervous breakdown. And I'm telling you, I could not function. I couldn't get up and make myself something to eat. I
mm,
could not function. And I didn't think I was I kept telling my therapist because remember, I grew up with all mentally ill people. So I'm thinking I'm right on the track I'm about to be schizophrenic. Okay. It's happening to me. Everything that
Yeah.
I watched as a kid, I thought it was happening to me, and I panicked. And I said, I used to tell my therapist, like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not
Mm.
gonna survive this. And my therapist would be like, just take the medication. Well, my psychiatrist, just take the medication, take the medication. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm losing my mind. I couldn't even think. My kids used to come home from school, and you know me. My kids used to come
Mm-hmm.
home from school, and I would be laying on the couch, drugged up for medication. I didn't think I was gonna make it past that. I didn't know what was gonna happen. It was one of the first times I had ever thought about. I had suicidal ideation
Mm.
because I didn't know who I was
Mm.
anymore. Everything had been taken away from me. I did not know, and I remember saying to my therapist, if I didn't even say when, I said, if I get up from here, I have to do something differently. I cannot do life like how I was doing it because that's
Mm.
what brought me here. And then, like you were saying about the guilt, I'm a very active mother in my kid's life. In that, for that whole like year, I'm telling you, I was on the couch, trying sampling different medications to see which one was
Mm.
actually going to help me. I
Mm.
did not think I was going to make it out of that in my right mind. I thought that I would be put in an institution or something.
Damn, that's crazy. So you said you was married for 15 years.
Hmm.
What would you say? What is the problem in relationship nowadays? Like what make people break up? The in relationship nowadays.
I feel like in relationships nowadays, you have to be willing.
Mm.
I think people want being married for 15 years, all the like butterflies and all of that stuff goes away, right? This whole romantic, we're watching too many movies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel like people have these expectations of what a relationship is, and they project that onto their partner, you know. Like Tom Cruise, what's that movie where he said, "You complete me," and he running
Yeah.
through the airport and doing, you know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna happen if you're married to an avoidant, right? If you're married to an avoidant,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be the one that's gonna have to stay vulnerable with that person. So it's like your expectations of thinking that you're happily ever after is not realistic because people have what? Trauma, childhood issues, bad behaviors. And they're used to seeing people quit. Oh, my mom has 17 boyfriends over my whole span. This relationship lasts longer than hers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
On the real.
so,
Let me see. I got my boy Big Miz in. I'm gonna bring him in, but I got another question though.
okay.
We're gonna bring him in. Let me see. We're gonna bring Big Miz.
That's crazy.
What's going on, Big Miz?
Yo, hey, how's it going? How's it going,
Nah,
Alicia?
what's
It's
yeah,
Good
going
what's
well.
going
conversation.
on?
Good conversation.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
man. Welcome to the party.
What's
So,
going on? What's going on?
we were just talking about mental health and trauma, and I wanted to bring you on because
Oh yeah, man. You gotta excuse
as
me. I'm looking crazy. Just got finished
oh
working,
no
doing what I do every day.
oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We
Look,
was
I'm
my
just
the
hair look
talking
like it's
brightness
about
been.
for all of us.
Huh?
I said I'm the brightness for all of us. You're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. You definitely looking good over there. I see you.
yeah. So my next question was we was talking about like I wanted to bring you on because we was talking about like trauma. We don't talk about trauma from the fathers, from the man, like raising kids, and we
Yeah.
don't. This is our first time raising kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we don't really know. We just trying. We just trying the error. But
Right.
sometimes people don't know that we feel like, damn, is we doing a good job?
Yeah. 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 It's kind of like what we talked about. You know, if you think about it, like kind of for us as black men and black people in general, like if you really look at it, we are almost like the first generation where it's becoming normal for us to be at home with our kids, because the
That's right.
generations and the generation before us, most of the men was not, you know, in the home with their kids. You know what I'm saying? And now it's kind of it's more of a normality. You know what I'm saying? You see grown men getting custody, 100% custody of their kids,
Right.
and you see even fathers who are not around, you know, being Neil. I'm on live. You see fathers who you know what I'm saying, may not even be around, still being fathers these days. So it's not as taboo to be a father to your kids these days. So we kind of are like the new generation of black fathers coming up. But if you think about it, majority of all our guys, we didn't grow up with a father in the house.
Right.
No.
So with us having kids now, we are learning on the fly. You know, nobody taught us, man, this is how you raise your child. Nobody showed us this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. Now with the mother, the kids always been with the mother. You know what I mean? So it's more normal for the mother to be like, if the kid act weird, the mother just be like, oh well, she do that to me all the time. But for us, it's hurtful. It like stings us to our core. Cause we like, man, you know how hard it is to stay in the home and be a father when you got all these other examples of cats just taking off doing what they want to
Man,
do.
they just running, and we like, bro, that's whack. But at the
Yeah,
same time, we
and
like,
then we
damn.
like, man, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I give you everything. I show you love. I'm in the house, and it's still like these generation be like, so I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So
And we talking about kids though.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just, and from a mental health standpoint, that's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
That's
we
hard
and
for a man because you know how hard it is just to stay at home and be in the house and try to be a real man in this trifling world. You know what I'm saying?
A provider. Provider.
I don't know how hard it is to be a man. Well,
True.
I will say this. And I'm a little harsh sometimes. I'm gonna say welcome to parenting.
Welcome to what? Parenting?
Parenting. Congratulations, y'all made it.
Say
This
that's what it is.
this is what women have been dealing with our whole time. We're expected to be nurturers and know how to be
Yeah.
nurturers and know how to,
okay,
parent
so
a child. So you never know, right?
And I agree.
No.
I agree
and
with
that
that. Women have been expected to do that. They have been in the role of
And
doing
they
that
didn't know
for
what they was doing either. Their mama was knocking them upside the head and doing all type of crazy stuff to them.
good
So
point.
everything is about, like I was telling you earlier, Monty, right? We have these mental contracts that when our parents were doing things to us, we said, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that," or "I am gonna do that," right? And that's what kind of governs us now. However, the first thing I would tell y'all, kudos to being fathers in your kids' life. I would say lighten up on yourself.
Mm.
Lighten up and start making it more about time spent instead of discipline,
Mm.
and instead of all of that. You have to have some self-compassion for yourself. Exactly what y'all said. We don't know how to do this. Then why are you putting all this pressure on yourself? I'm not finna go change no engine tomorrow. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I'm definitely not gonna think that I'm gonna do it perfect the first time.
Yeah,
So
true.
I say you guys gotta have some self-compassion, and you guys have to pat yourself on the back to say, listen, I've already changed things because I'm in my kid's life. If I don't do nothing else, one of my therapists told me about my kids. Because my kids did not experience the trauma that I experienced, sexual abuse and all that stuff, right? If I drop them off in the field tomorrow, they'll be better off than how I was raised. And that sounds crazy because it's kind of like, hold on, you talk about my mama? You know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, you've already have broken the curse by just being visible in your kid's life. Yes, we want our kids, we want to get this, everybody wants to be a perfect parent, but in the end, this is what women go through all the time. Am I doing it right? I don't know.
Right.
So
And I
have
agree with that. That's a
And
good point
sometimes,
from one's point of view. And I agree with that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because I guess don't none of us do. That's life. We
we
all trying to
don't.
figure out what's going on.
You
Yeah.
think Jeffrey Dahmer's mom was like, yes? You know what I mean? She didn't know she was raising a damn serial killer.
Right. KKG wanted to say that. What you want to say?
no, what I was gonna say is, for men, sometimes you have to meet the kids where they are.
That's right.
And you have to put your ego to the side and address their needs first. And it doesn't always feel good.
And I agree with you. And that's what I was saying about maybe that kid isn't the kid to mop the floor. Right? You have to meet your kids where they at and stop. As Black people, we act like kids are little adults. They're not. They're not little adults. They're actually not mentally developed enough to keep a task. They're
I
not.
don't know. Hold on.
It
I
depends
beg
on
the
your age.
difference.
Okay, now
Hold
go ahead.
on. Have you ever seen this TV show on Netflix called I Am Grown Enough?
I never saw it.
need my.
It's a Netflix show called I Am
Somebody
Grown
get him
Enough.
a drink.
Yeah, somebody said get him a drink.
Yeah, I need to turn up.
Yeah. So it's a Netflix show called I'm Grown Enough, and these kids, 5 years old, walking 2 miles, going grocery shopping, and coming back by themselves in China.
Because they've been conditioned to do so, right?
Yeah, they got a
But
different
you
level of
ain't got no
survival.
kid walking no 2 miles to China. Your kid walking to the iPhone or whatever. You know what I mean? It's better to meet a kid where they're at than to impose your expectations on them. When you start imposing expectations on them, any human being is gonna pull back because am I gonna meet that?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fail.
I think also kind of like touching on the meeting them where they at type of aspect, like it's in society, it's a whole new way of thinking that, like the kids, they got options and choices these days. We didn't grow up with options, we didn't grow up with choices. You know what I'm saying? So now we're expected to evolve to this new way of thinking that, man, my kid has an opinion. My kid can, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but sometimes people come down on us as men for being the disciplinary, but we actually supposed to be the disciplinary. It's like my man said, it's an umbrella effect. The order of things is God, we intercede with God. We supposed to have an understanding with God. We supposed to discuss that with our woman, our significant other. Then the woman, she got a better communication with the kids. She's supposed to lay it out to them, and we just supposed to bag it up. We supposed to be the enforcer, like, yeah, hey, your mama said that, do that. But when we do that,
if you believe that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
yeah. No, not being, and I don't know religious or nothing, but in my understanding, of the way things go. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So like,
well, y'all,
when we get
know
away
what? I'm gonna tell
from,
you one thing over here. So
go ahead.
my kids are very much like you're saying. They have opinions. They get to be individuals, right? I'm not trying to impose anything that I think they should be or who they should be. Let me say this. Let's think about this, right? If you don't give your kids some of these abilities, for instance, if they can never say no to you, how are they going to go outside and say no to others? They can't create boundaries.
Yeah, I get that.
Giving them an inability to create boundaries. So for me, I let my kids do those things, here. Learn this behavior here. So when you take it out, you ain't gonna have no problem with saying no when somebody be like, oh, you want to do this PCP? You want to do, you know what I mean? We can tend to, as Black people, we can tend to force our kids into submission, and it breaks our will, right? It breaks
I
our will.
think,
We go out
yeah,
in public and we don't know how to say no, and now you doing 25 to life because your parents like, man, you a punk, come with me. You
Yeah.
I think there's it's something that it's a real thin line. It's actually scary, like you said. Welcome to parenting, because it's
yes,
scary. Because it's like
a whole
you,
human being.
yeah, you want to like. I just recently sent my child off, my youngest child off to college, and I'm talking about like in a whole nother big city, a whole
Uh-huh.
nother new environment, and it's terrifying for me. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
that trauma, man. It's
It's like I'm like,
terrifying.
Can I
but
ask you something?
what?
Do you think that you did a good job
I
as a
think I did a
parent?
great job. I don't
Why
I
are you
don't think
terrified then? Why are you
I don't
terrified?
think that you know my idea of what my relationship should be like is being imposed as I would like it to be, but I still think that uh my child has gained a lot from getting the understanding that I helped her to
Gave
get.
them. Right.
Yeah, because she
So
she does.
now why are you scared then? You have to trust that
Because
you
it's
taught her what.
terrifying. It's like I've been there, I've done this. So you could drop me off in the battlefield and I'll be able to fight. But I
Right.
ain't never let her get on no battlefield or even see one. And now I'm
Yeah.
dropping her off in the middle of a battlefield. You know what I'm saying? And she like,
But
I'm cool.
did you
Uh,
give her the knowledge that she
yeah,
needs?
no doubt, no doubt.
When you finna sit back and watch your parenting create progress. You did your job. Yeah, you're gonna be anxious about it because that's your daughter and she's, somewhere else. But on the other
Yeah,
hand, I feel like that says more. When you're afraid to let your child go, because think about it, the birds, they push their damn kids out the nest. Ain't no question.
Man. And if they
Anybody
if they if
type
they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
you
yeah,
fly,
gonna fly or you ain't gonna fly, right?
yeah.
either
It's
or.
you gonna get smashed. So therefore, as humans, obviously we have a whole nother thought pattern. But I think that becomes to be more about your fear of did I do well than it is your kid's gonna do all these things that you're thinking about, or all these things are gonna happen to them. It's more a projection that I'm scared that I wasn't good enough. And
Yeah.
now I'm putting you out here.
So let me give you a scenario, right? Because really, the whole conversation really came from a kind of a understanding, a likeness between me and Monty. We conversate, you know what I'm saying, and we have a lot of similar situations, going on as far as when it comes to these kids. But I just want to ask you, as a mother, so
Mhm.
how do you feel and react when you're doing your best for your child, correct?
Mhm.
And trying to rear them up and trying to do that, but your child's reaction towards you is not cognizant of what you are putting into them. Your child's reverberation of love for you is not what you expect it to be. Say like you do this, I'm just gonna say material stuff. I ain't talking about material stuff, but I'm saying an example.
Right.
Your kid want the Jordans, you go get the Jordans for them. You know what I'm saying? Your kid wants some food, you go get the food they want to eat.
Right.
Your kid, you provide a nice home for them. You do all the things that you feel are good for them and treat them nicely. But then in return, they like, you don't got no love for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do that make you feel? How would that make you feel?
Well, the way that I am and the way that I parent, I would want to know where that was coming from. I'm diving deep into the brain because I want to know where am I not giving you what you need, right? It's you like Christy said it earlier. being a mother, ego has to be removed, right? And when you're thinking, if you're focusing on the child, then they should be able to say things like that to you. And the question is, where is this coming from? What do you feel? My kids be so tired of me asking them what they feel. I tell you, I ask my kids all the time. I ask my kids, am I doing a good job?
Yeah.
Instead of that coming out in argument when they're mad and they're frustrated about something I didn't do, I'm asking it up front.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that way
And I think that's not asked in the home.
right.
Yeah, it's not.
It's probably
Well,
just
I think a lot of parents are afraid of what that answer looks like.
that
Yeah.
too. They might
I
not, we scared of the truth.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't think like as,
I
and
put
I'm
my
just speaking
shoulders-
from,
I'm sorry. I said I'm not scared of the truth. I put my shoulders back when somebody finna tell me the truth.
yeah, that's what's
Oh,
up.
no.
I'm speaking from, and now I'm just speaking out the heart. Like we just talking now. You know what I'm saying? Like from a male point of view, well, from my particular point of view, and probably Monty's as well. Like we grew up sheltering our feelings. Like it wasn't no thing to be show a feeling, to say, man, how do you feel? It was stone face. Keep your face cold and your heart cold too. You know,
Right.
so when we're trying to, relate our feelings to our kids, but we've already been trained to hold our feelings, the only thing we got is our actions.
And
So
anger.
when I show a good action, then I expect a good reaction. You know what I mean? But to say like I feel like you didn't react the way it don't come out like that. It come out like, man, what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't appreciate that?
So
Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I grew up in the 90s too. Men were definitely taught if you cry, you a punk.
Yeah.
All of those, like, get rid of emotions, right? I agree with you. And then it's learned behavior. Now I'm doing it for 30 years.
And you can talk.
How can I learn this behavior? What you have to be willing to do is to do the work. First of all, start asking yourself, how do you feel? That's the question, right?
Mm.
We use our children to project issues that we have with ourselves.
Right.
So therefore, it's about asking yourself how you feel. And I feel like the connection is there, right? You're saying, I didn't have a father, so I don't know how to do this. And the next thing is, you don't think you're doing it right with your kid because of their response.
True.
Right? So therefore, the question is, how do you feel? Your feeling is you feel like that you're failing. Your kids, it seems like on the outside, right, that it's failing. But remember, this is not Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where we wrapping it up in 30 minutes and oh my God, that was great. You know what I mean? It's not that. This is a lifelong issue. So when you're able to be vulnerable with your kids, when you're able to say, this is how, when they do something you don't like, I come back and say, I don't like the way that I felt about that when you did that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like how.
And I think, I mean to cut you off, but I think that we still trying to raise our kids on the old blueprint that how we was raised. And everything changed, nothing stayed the same. And we trying to raise our kids today how we was raised, and it's not the same. These kids is not like us.
No.
And we are not like our parents. And our parents is not like our grandparents.
Right.
That's true.
I agree. But for men, I'm huge on, like, I didn't teach my sons about don't cry and you're a punk if you cry. I didn't teach my sons any of that. They're very emotionally intelligent. Because of that, they can tell you how they feel on a certain day, and my daughter, like, for instance, I said sons, but I now have two daughters. My son came out as trans to me. right? So as a trans woman, okay, do you know the emotional intelligence you have to have, whether y'all agree with it or not, to actually sit in front of your parent at 18 and say, this is who I am? When there's no trans person in our family, right? So it's not like there's a model or something where it's already been accepted in the family. You get what I'm saying? The emotional intelligence and the strength that she had to come out and say, this is who I am. And the fact that I got to know this. This is the other thing, you guys. If you impose all this discipline on your kids, you will only know a version of them. You will not know your full child. Think about it. When you was growing up with your grandmother and your mom and stuff, we went out the house and did a whole bunch of sneaky shit. They didn't even know. My mom didn't know me. She didn't know who I was for real.
Yeah. And you know, and that's what I was going to say, backtracking on relationships. You know, sometimes we've been in a long-term relationship, like you say, 15 years. And sometimes we forget that we change every 90 days. So in 15 years, we're not the same people that we was in the beginning. So we got to relearn people. Sometimes we got to relearn our kids, and we got to relearn our friends.
Yeah,
we got to relearn our people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to relearn your own wife sometimes after so many years.
Sometimes you got to relearn yourself.
Okay, let the church say amen, because you know I'm all about self. I am about self-reflection.
Yeah.
The only thing you really need to learn is yourself.
Yeah.
Once you learn yourself, everything is so much easier, so free, and people act differently around you because of that. You know, there's things that, you know, that could be affecting your relationship, and it's because you don't know yourself, and your spouse is watching you do all these things, but you're like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that, because you're not willing to look at yourself and say, damn, I do be doing this. You know?
Well,
so that's how relationships don't work. You have to self-reflect. And we project a lot of our emotions onto the people we care about that are the closest to us. We project stuff onto them.
And self-reflection is majorly important. Majorly important.
Can y'all hear KKG?
What'd she say?
I said, the other thing I wanted to say about that too is when you were talking about, you know, you were giving love and you were expecting it to be a certain way. To me, that sounds like you're putting a condition on love, right? And I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that's how your children will see it. And so now they're conditioning their love to you.
Right.
And so you kind of created that behavior. So to get back off of that, it's again meeting them at their level to say, I don't care. I love you even though and no matter what. Yeah,
I know. And that's kind of what, like, I be dealing with. Like, I be like, man, you know what? Irregardless of how you react into this situation, you know what I'm saying? I'm your daddy. I'm your only daddy, and I love you. You know, whether you acknowledge it or not. And then, you know, people be like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, your daughter love you. You know, what's my daughter doing? And I ain't on here bashing my daughter. I know my daughter love me. It's just like when I grew up, we was watching the Cosbys, right? So we like, damn, we ain't had no daddy. We ain't had no rich mama. We ain't barely had no house. So when we see the Cosbys, we like, oh, that's how life's supposed to be, right? So, you know, you reflect your whole image like, man, I'm gonna be like the dad on the Cosby. I'm gonna have a wife like the wife on the Cosby. My kids gonna be smart. They're gonna go to school. You know, you reflect your life, or you see Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like you said, oh man, Uncle Phil, he the dad, he being in the house. You know, them was the only images that we saw of that.
Right.
Now I was fortunate to have uncles and a granddaddy, but like, you know, the daddy was in and out type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, dang man, like actually sitting there and grinding out all these emotions and grinding out all these situations wasn't never.
Or you can live in a household where you say, I don't give a fuck how you feel, do what I say.
That too.
Yes.
That too.
And that right there will fuck you up on raising your kids.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Y'all, you're preaching today. And Chrissy
Yeah.
over here got all the layups for this conversation. I love it. She layups. It's
Hey.
so true. Because what, you guys, learned behavior. It's learned behavior. And
Yeah,
like
true.
I said, Black people treat their kids like they're mini adults.
Yeah.
They're not mini adults, right? They need certain things. And so, like I was saying, when you're talking to your kids, ask them, how do you feel? Okay, if they come to you, tell them, if you're willing to come to me and tell me what whatever the problem is, then you got to be willing to listen to it. Then you can't get mad.
Right. Right.
So kids are not, the other thing about being a mom is every kid goes through a phase where they don't like their mama.
Yeah, I know. And it's like y'all just used to that. It's like women just used to that.
We're not.
Men,
I
we
used
be
to go
taking
in
it
the
super
room and
personal.
cry. I wasn't used to it. I'm a people pleaser. Are you kidding me? I wasn't used to it. I hated that. I thought my kids hated me.
Right.
Right? Except for, but I just kept asking them, well, what is it? And, my daughter would say, well, when people come around, you're having all this fun and laughter with them. Now, mind you, these are drinking parties. We, doing our thing and stuff like that. And she's like, and then when we spend time together, it's kind of just, it's not as key and all this and that. Well, I had to let her know, baby, you're not grown. Like, we doing
Yeah, I
grown
can't kick it with
stuff.
you like that.
Yeah,
I-
I can't. So when we go to the science museum, we reading shit. We're not out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I let them be them. Tell me, because at the end of the day, like I said, growing up, my mom did not know who I was, and I thought that was a tragedy for her. So I felt like that was one of my contracts, that when I had kids, I want to know who my kids are. And I don't care if that means you just stole some shit from the store. You know what I mean? Not that you're not going to have a consequence. However, it can be a different consequence than an ass whooping if you are willing to come to me and tell me. Now, if I find out from somebody else, I'm beating that ass. But you come to tell me, then we're building a rapport of respect. Because remember, your kids, you just said it, they don't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They don't stay under your control. You get what I'm saying? They grow up and they go to college.
Right.
Yeah. Or think about this. Remember the first time you wanted to go out of town and your mom said, no, it's too dangerous. And you was like, I'm good. Let me go.
No, I used to run away. I had a problem.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
I used to run away. I ain't had no problem like that.
But I was just backtracking because, like what you said, you was like, man, my daughter in a whole nother town, and man, it's scary. She ain't been on the battleground, and she said, I got it, Dad, I got it.
Yeah, yeah. Like to her, it's just like,
yeah, she like, I got it.
Yeah, to her, it's like nothing. It's like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. But to me, I'm like, man, look. I done been there and done that. Like I was 15, 16, taking off to these freaknik trips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I seen a whole lot.
Hey, but like my wife said,
I know it ain't no more playing the GA.
That's why I said we going off some old pattern. Yeah, that's why I say we going off this old pattern, these old beliefs.
I know.
And like my wife said, she say, man, we don't know.
Yeah.
You don't. But here's
we don't even know what we're gonna eat for dinner tomorrow.
I'm back to the original thing. Trust yourself. Trust the fact that you raised your daughter the best way that you could.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and then just keep in contact with her. And you're gonna be, I'm pretty sure you've been in her life and stuff. So one thing is, I tell you, as a woman, when you have a father in your life, right, another man, the one thing you're not going to do is seek validation from other men unless your father didn't give you that. So that be the hugest thing that the men be worried about, right? Because that causes all the promiscuity and all of that type of stuff. But if you had a father in your life to tell you was pretty and that, you smart and you're all this and that, when you get out in these streets, excuse my French, but a nigga can't tell you nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I
On the
don't
real.
validate me because
Right.
I had a man to validate me. So
Right.
a lot of your worries, your presence has already kind of curbed some of that anyway.
Right.
But like
indeed.
I
For
said,
sure.
y'all
It's-
need to learn self-compassion. Being
It's
a
good.
parent is
It's good
hard
to hear
as
that
fuck.
come from a woman's
It
woman's
is.
perspective. You know
It
what I'm
is.
saying? And of course we all just trying to make it, trying to figure it out.
For real. We just throwing shit in the pot and hoping it stick. And
Man.
listen, if it don't work, here's the other thing. You can always change it. People act like once you do something, it's set in stone. No, do something different tomorrow.
Yeah.
If it don't work. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. On the real.
that's a good one.
And you can start off with you instead of using your right hand to brush your teeth, use your left hand. Do
If
something
that's
different.
what makes you feel
You know what I'm
better,
saying? Hey, do something different. You know what I'm saying?
you want to be
Hey
left
man,
handed,
man, it's good conversation. I'm gonna sign out. I'm out here standing in the hood. I don't like standing. You know,
All right,
a
you
lot
all
of my
good. I
houses
just
in the hood. I'm
wanted,
out here standing outside. You know, just moving around. But
yeah, it's all good. I
man,
just wanted you to tap in for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
huh?
We've been on here. I just wanted you to tap in for a little bit. We've been
Yeah,
on here
man. Hey, I appreciate y'all
for 2
inviting me.
hours. We
Great
good.
conversation and great point. What is your name, Alicia or Alicia?
Alicia.
Okay, it's great conversation with you, Alicia.
Thank you.
And I may have to reach out, man, when I start going through these things and panicking again about my daughter. You heard me?
Definitely
Yeah, on
do.
the real. On the real. I appreciate
All right,
you,
I'm gonna
bro.
sign off, money. I'm gonna talk to
I
y'all.
appreciate. I for
All
sure. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was a good conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's supposed to been an hour of power, man. We've been on here for like 2.5 hours already.
I told you
So
I talk too much.
yeah, but no, it's good. It's good. We need to hear that, you know, and but yeah, I ain't gonna hold you up too much, man. I'm gonna go ahead and let you because I know your battery probably going down and you got a lot of stuff going on. And
Right.
but before we end this podcast, is there anybody you want to send a shout out to?
I don't really do shout outs, but I want to thank everybody for watching that's supporting me, my family. And I want to thank my brother, Sandy Darvell Sutton, who was the catalyst for me moving forward in my mental health. And he's guiding me all the time.
Okay. That's what's up. Well, you know, I appreciate you coming on this, spending this 2 hours of power. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much, man, from the past to the future. You don't even know.
I appreciate you. And I'm very proud of you and Christy. Let me say that because I wanted to say at the beginning, I'm very proud of you guys. I saw when you guys were just having ideas of what you guys were going to do, you know, and now seeing that you guys have this podcast and the t-shirts and all of that, like, I love it. And it's Virgo Nation.
Yes, indeed. You already know. So, yeah,
right.
man.
Take care.
So, all right.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Yo, what's up? This your boy, Monty G from the Fammission Podcast. We just spent 2.5 hours on this podcast. So if y'all stayed on this podcast, I appreciate y'all. And please share and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss another one. And man, I'll see y'all next week. Peace. Much love.
We on the mission, family on the mission. We on the mission, family on the mission. We on the mission, family on the mission. We on the mission, family on the mission.